I am surprised. Maybe you know this already, but Todd and Mary Jane are married. I mean, my man not only took Jesse's mental stability and a kid's life, but he also stole my man Peter's missus. I knew he had something in him first time I saw him. Hi everybody, Caesar here with another, well, it's not really a review, a commentary, let's call it, in this occasion, on the latest Alex Garland movie, Civil War. Spoiler alert. Before I jump with the introduction, I'd like to get something off the way. Just like I did with my previous commentary on The Fall Guy, I haven't seen any other reviews or analysis of the film because I want to give you my opinion and to describe the experience I get from it as pure and unfiltered as possible. By no means I intend to stop you from watching it. I don't think anybody should do that, nor do I intend to influence your opinion about it if you have already seen it. I say this because I understand that the world out there is nothing but negative things about this film, and I just don't believe that only because one person, as qualified as they may be, had a bad experience with the movie, they have the right to forbid you from watching it. And I'm not only referring to film, but any other work of art for that matter. We all have different backgrounds and live through different things that heavily influence our perception, the way we see the world. I think that's beautiful, because it allows for each and every one of us to get something completely different out of the same thing. And unfortunately, I see it's being robbed from us by certain people who make hating on things their whole personality. It's a very polarized world these days. I just believe that everybody is entitled to their own opinion, and we should respect that, as well as letting others experience or consume whatever they want. That being said, let's go back to the review. It was disappointing, what can I say? I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it for you. I'm going to explain why, okay? Just bear with me. Civil War is directed by Alex Garland, a relatively new incomer in the business, whose directorial debut was back in 2014 with Ex-Machina. And what an entrance. The film received great critical and commercial acclaim. This film is also where Garland will start his frequent collaboration with the DOP, director of photography, of Civil War, Rob Hardy. You probably watched his images if you saw Mission Impossible Fallout, for instance. Rob will be in charge of the cinematography of all 5 of Alex Garland's movies: 2018's Annihilation, 5 episodes of the miniseries Deaths, 2022 Men, and the subject of today's video, Civil War. The cast is filled with talent. Leading the way, we have Kirsten Dunst, Little Woman, Jumanji, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Marie Antoinette, Melancholia, Season 2 of Fargo, The Power of the Dog, and of course, the worst and most toxic girlfriend in the superhero genre, Mary Jane Watson in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And Wagner Moura, Pablo Escobar in the Narcos series, Sergio with Ana de Armas, The Gray Man, and the one who voiced perfectly the character Death in the OG Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Well, if it isn't Puss in Boots himself, in the flesh. Hey, I never do this, but can I get your autograph signed right there?
We also have Kylie Spiani, I'm not sure about that surname, who portrayed Priscilla Presley on the latest Sofia Coppola movie. I haven't seen it, so I don't really know what to tell you about her or her career. I guess we'll see where she decides to take it. Alongside her, we have the theatre legend Mr. Stephen McKinley Henderson. There's also Jesse Plemons, who provides, in the very short time he's on screen, a really captivating performance. He just kills it. Literally. And we can't forget Nick Offerman, Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreations.
Ron Swanson will be next.
When it comes to government hearings, the only type of witness I enjoy being is a hostile one. That's why I intend to answer every one of their questions with a question.
Were you aware that all of the entertainment and food was provided by rec center teachers?
Would I have stayed if I knew that?
I don't know. Would you have?
Would you have?
No, I wouldn't have. Did you hear Leslie make any promises?
What constitutes a promise?
A quid pro quo?
Oh, do you know Latin?
Okay. Thank you, Ron.
Are we done?
Who portrayed the President of the US in this universe. I think his performance was great in the very brief periods of time he was on screen, but we never get to see more of him, which I think is a waste. I mean, we have huge names in here, experienced people who know their craft. Therefore, one would assume that the final product would be good, at least, right? Well, unfortunately, no. Look, the major flaw this movie has, for me, is its lack of soul. When you make a movie, given how expensive these things are, the most responsible thing to do would be for one to have something they want the audience to reflect on, or just a good story to tell. I think Lex had a great concept at hand, to play with what would happen if the US would fall again on an armed internal conflict. But unfortunately, given how the story unfolds, he doesn't seem to be interested in that at all, because he just doesn't put enough emphasis on that.
Every time I survived a war zone and got the photo, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
I think that's ultimately what Lex tries to do with this film, to put us, the audience, in the shoes of a war correspondent and to see the horrors of war through her lens. And it would be a good argument, but in order to do that, we must have a connection with the character, feel some sort of empathy, which is not possible at all if the protagonist is an asshole with no texture of substance, portrayed as someone who shows no interest in the parts at all, which leads me to my second point. As I watched the film, and every time Kirsten was on screen, I just couldn't stop thinking, man, she's clearly not enjoying it. And I mean, she's the actress behind the mask. It was just so shallow, impossible to sympathize or connect with her. Look, I understand that the character she portrayed lived through a lot. Someone who's deeply affected by all the terrible things she must have seen. But someone can sense when it's an actor's choice to act depressed, you know? I wasn't getting that impression from her in here. I just perceived someone who said like, fuck it, I gotta pay the bills, and went through it. Or someone who decided to go full depressed, you know? And gave zero fucks on what we, the audience, would make of it. I really find it hard to point out exactly what the cause of this disinterest I perceive this. I don't know if it's just me, but it really contributed to my lack of appreciation for the story. I'm not talking about the original score composed by Ben Salisbury and Geoff Barrows, who by the way are the ones who composed the music of all previous Garland films. No, I'm talking about the soundtrack. I set the score aside because I had no problem with it. It was okay. Pretty average. I think the objective here with the music was to immerse the audience in the chaotic world where the story unfolds, and for the most part it delivers. As I said before, the score does not take away from the experience, but neither does it contribute on a much profound way, like you know, something you are going to listen to on any given day. The only time the soundtrack literally took me out of the experience was in a scene where we, all of a sudden, are met with Say No Go by De La Soul. I can't show you the actual scene because of copyright, but I think if you saw the movie you remember it pretty well. Don't get me wrong, the song is a great one, I love De La Soul, but it's so misplaced and misused that it actually ruins the moment. But enough with the negative things. There were good things in this movie, highlighted and overappreciated because of all the bad ones, but hey, at least they were there. One thing I'll give its proper credit was the intensity of the battle sequences, especially the one at the final act where the army have the White House surrounded. The sound design does a great job at helping the audience immerse in the chaos of the conflict. I know it's not the same, okay? We can't possibly compare the two movies, but it really reminded me of that shooting sequence outside the bank from Heat. The other interesting thing was the decision of intercalate the photograph they take. I liked it. I think it added an interesting aesthetic layer, and it was also a good choice to further immerse us in the point of view of the characters. This is just something that's been on my mind since watching those images, okay? But I think that Garland chose to put those images to sort of criticize the passive attitude of us as the audience watching those events without doing anything about it, which would add to the meta-commentary of the film, trying to raise awareness on how dangerously can internal divisions escalate to. I'm not gonna lie to you, as I was making this video, I kind of started to see the movie with less negative eyes. I still think it was not as good as it could be. I guess that I was expecting something more, since this movie comes from the guy who directed Ex-Machina. I do believe that the concept of the film was great, but it wasn't exploited to its full potential. Kirsten's performance was poor and it lacked intensity. But we'll see what other projects Lex comes up with in the following years. We have to remember that Garland is a relatively new director who have so much ahead of him and someone I would definitely follow closely.
Anyway, I hope this video provides you with another perspective, and if you haven't seen the movie, I think you should check it out. Cinema is a beautiful form of art and we should definitely support it. But tell me, what do you think? Are you familiar with Alex Garland's work? Did you like the movie? Let me know in the comments below.
Alright. Well, I'm so sorry on the delay of this latest video. I've been working on it a lot. I also had a little problem with the camera I was using to record these videos, but things will get better, okay? We have to be optimists. Also, I've noticed that my latest videos have been all about films, and I promise you I will be talking about music too. I'm working on organizing a series of videos I'll be working on called Duets, in which I'll explore those rare occasions in which two great artists get together and create a body of work that will influence artists from many generations from them, and it's very interesting. I'll also be analyzing some albums I've been listening to, but you'll see. Also, I'd like to take this occasion to thank all my new subscribers. Thank you very much for your support. It really means a lot to me. If you are new to the channel or just stumbled across this video, please consider to give it a like if you actually liked it, or just out of kindness. Please, I'm just starting out and I would really appreciate it. Anyway, I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Until then, I wish you nothing but the best. Have a nice day, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.